Your thoughts, I guess, first of all, just your reaction to that story and that question from John Roberts. What do you say to that?
Well, Martha, thanks for having me on the show tonight. The mere fact that John had to ask the question, the mere fact that we don't know the answers, that China hasn't shared the answers, I think is very, very telling. To your point, President said that there are multiple sources. What we do know is we know that this virus originated in Wuhan, China. We know that there is the Wuhan Institute of Virology just a handful of miles away from where the wet market was. There's still lots to learn. You should know that the United States government is working diligently to figure this out. But what we really need, Martha, we really need the Chinese government to open up. They say they want to cooperate. One of the best ways they could find to cooperate would be to let the world in, to let the world's scientists know exactly how this came to be, exactly how this virus began to spread. And today you saw further evidence that there were days that went by from when the Chinese Communist Party, the leadership there, knew about this virus before they told the public writ large. That's dangerous. A lot of cases, a lot of movement, a lot of travel around the world before the Chinese Communist Party came clean about what really transpired there. These are the kind of things that open governments, democracies don't do. It's why there's such risk associated with the absence of transparency. We need it still today.
I mean, it's hard to imagine, given everything that so many countries have been through, how different it might have been if China had immediately been clear about what they knew about the origin of this virus. And if they had, shut down all of the travel at that point. There were tens of thousands of people who flew out of the Wuhan area after that point. So how does this not have a very negative, heavyweight impact on our relationship with China going forward?
Well, Martha, I'll say this. I've talked to my counterparts all across the world over the past handful of days. They all see this, too. It's very difficult to make the case that there was anything but absence of shared information in a timely fashion. It didn't just put Americans at risk. It put people all across the world at risk. It wasn't until the end of January that we brought the first Americans home, the roughly 800 people that we got back from Wuhan itself. They were at risk for an awfully long time. The Chinese government needs to come clean. It needs to be accountable. It needs to explain what happened and why it is the case that information wasn't made more broadly available. We could have done things differently. The world would have responded quickly. Frankly, the international health organizations didn't do us any favors either in making sure this information was broadcast in a way that it needed to be, with transparent and full information.
Yeah. I mean, the president has made a lot of effort to be very supportive of his friendship and his relationship with President Xi, even on January 24th, saying that he hopes it works out well. He appreciated the efforts and the transparency on the part of the Chinese government. He wanted to thank President Xi for that. I mean, can those kind of statements go forward anymore? I know the president talks a lot about the trade deal and making sure that they don't renege on their promises there. It almost feels like that's the one piece that is holding that relationship together at this point, because we're counting on those trade agreements and those trade relationships with China.
Well, we've seen the president be serious about righting the disaster that was the trade relationship before he came to office. He's made it more fair and reciprocal. We have an expectation that they will live up to their obligations under the Phase 1 trade deal. It was a good deal for both parties. As for the relationship, we want to cooperate. It's 1.5 billion people in China. We want the Chinese people to be successful, but it requires leadership that's prepared to engage in the international community on a fair and reciprocal basis and to share information the way we expect every nation to do that. It doesn't appear that happened here. The president talked about their data today, and he asked if anybody believed the numbers of deaths and the numbers of cases inside of China. That's the kind of doubt and uncertainty that happens when you close down, when you kick journalists out of your country. All we're asking is for the Chinese to cooperate and share that information with us. It would be very helpful to the United States. It'd keep us safe. Frankly, it'd keep the Chinese people safer, too.